I believe in Israel, and I believe in her people. The history of my nation can be traced through the mountains and the valleys of this land. But there is one mountain that is at the very heart of our story. Long ago, the world was paradise. God walked with man in the Garden of Eden. But when man sinned, the world changed. Until one man stepped forward, whose faith changed everything. That man is the father of my nation, and he is buried here. Abraham followed God with all his heart. His story is very special to me and my family. It was Abraham whom God first showed the mountain that holds the future promise of Israel. The mountain that Abraham named Adonai Yira'eh, the place where the Lord will be seen. We believe in God and trust that He will again be seen on His holy mountain.
It is the mountain known throughout antiquity as the place where heaven meets earth. Located at the crossroads of 3 continents and elevated above the city of Jerusalem, it is called in the Bible the center of the world. According to legend, it was the location of the Garden of Eden, the very place where God took dust and breathed life into the first man. The Hebrews called this place Mount Moriah, the Temple Mount, Mount Zion. It was where Abraham was led to offer up his son, and where God provided a ram in Isaac's place. It was the mountain purchased by King David, and where King Solomon built the house of God, where the Ark of the Covenant was kept, and where the 12 tribes of Israel would worship, where Jesus celebrated the Jewish festivals, and where his first disciples came to pray. Conquered in war by the Babylonians and Persians, Greeks and Romans, Crusaders and Muslims, it is the most fought-over mountain in the history of the world. But the ancient prophets of Israel wrote of a different destiny for this place, a future that many believe is unfolding in our time.
My name is Doron Keidar. I'm a Jew, born and raised here in the land of Israel. The majority of my career has been spent in defense, and today I serve in the Israeli Defense Forces Paratrooper Battalion.
I'm Joshua Waller. I was born in Tennessee. The first time I actually came to Israel, I was 14 years old, and I said to myself then, I'm going to give my life to this. My family lives here. We work here with the farmers. We've been a part of seeing the restoration of the land, this land that was desolate, becoming like the Garden of Eden. You talk about Bible prophecy coming to life. I've seen it firsthand, coming forth on the mountains of Israel.
My name is John Enerson. I'm a Christian theology student from Sweden. I study in Jerusalem. Israel to me has been a lifelong passion. My parents bringing me here since I was a child, learning about the history, but also about what it means today in modern times. Many of us believe, and I think rightly, that the restoration of Israel is the hand of God in history. and that the restoration of Jerusalem to the Jewish people in 1967 was a miracle from heaven. But logically, the progression is the center of Jerusalem would also be a place that is destined to be restored. If Israel is still holy to God, and if Jerusalem is still holy to God, then even more so the Temple Mount. When I was a child, I was brought onto the Temple Mount, and I didn't understand the place, and I was walking around and being shown the Dome of the Rock.
Over there and feed it. When I first came to Israel, I was young. I didn't really know much about the Temple Mount, and I probably didn't even go to the Temple Mount. It wasn't even on the radar. I really only saw it as a historic site, a place that so many Bible stories happen. Even the Jewish people, the nation of Israel, it wasn't something that was a place that people were really thinking about, studying about, learning about.
Who's hungry? Growing up, the Temple Mount was not something that I really understood or thought about too much. Grew up in a observant community up in the north in Upper Galilee. The only reference we really had to Yerushalayim is in the prayers that you would hear in the synagogue. And so you referred to Jerusalem in a spiritual context, but we really weren't taught the deeper essence and meaning of Yerushalayim. One day my eyes were really opened when I started to really question why there was so much conflict surrounding this place. And then I started to look into it. I started to research and to study about the Temple Mount. It completely changed the way I viewed Jerusalem. It was a life-changing moment.
Doron really opened my eyes to the Temple Mount, to Mount Zion. I didn't even really know where Zion was. It was a very spiritual and unearthly concept.
I think I was probably 18, 19 years old when I thought, the Temple Mount. And I started going up there and visiting, and slowly I began to understand there's more to this mountain that I wanted to dig deeper into.
I do research for theology, for class, for school. I'm still searching for so many biblical answers, historical answers.
I've lived here in Israel for now years and years, and I still have major questions on what's happening.
Why is this mountain the most fought over place in the world?
Why does the Bible call this place the center of the entire earth?
Why are Jews and Christians banned from praying here?
In Bible times, there was a power that rested on this mountain. Is it possible that that would return?
Do the Jewish people have a strong tradition of where the Ark of the Covenant is today?
One of my biggest questions I've had over the years is one of the most famous stories of Jesus is going up on the Temple Mount and clearing the place of all those who sold wares, saying that this is to be a place of prayer. What was so special that Jesus would go this far protecting the holiness of that place?
I really wanted to set out to follow the footsteps of the children of Israel from the Exodus out of Egypt, where the glory cloud came down, and follow that path that they took into the land of Israel, where the final resting place of God was.
Sometimes you gotta get out from behind the desk and explore and search to find the truth, to find the history. We need to search out the places where the glory of God has traveled the earth, to find how it came to be that it rested here.
This is the path of the glory of God. The people of Israel came from Sinai to Kadesh Barnea in the wilderness. They went around Edom,
crossed the Jordan River, and made their way to Harival.
And then to Shiloh for almost 400 years.
King David brought the Ark of God up to Jerusalem, and Solomon built the house of God, and the glory came to rest here.
Let's go to the desert.
thrilled beyond measure to be a part of this team and get out to these places that the Israelites actually touched. Not only did my amazing wife let me come on this expedition, but she also packed me a little something special. Here in the desert, we need a little more than a ball cap, just for the ear's sake.
Performing an expedition in the desert comes with its challenges. You're gonna find snakes, you're gonna find scorpions, all kinds of things that wanna kill you. Those challenges the children of Israel experienced, but there are things that they did not experience, like landmines from different wars that we fought since 1948.
We've got the Jordanian border. You don't want to be stopped there. And also the Egyptian border. You don't want to be stopped by these guys either. We're going to do our best to avoid all that.
The story of the Jewish people's return to Mount Zion began in Egypt on the night they were freed from slavery. Moses led them to Mount Sinai, where they received the 10 Commandments, constructed the tabernacle, and forged the Ark of the Covenant. It was on these hot desert sands that the children of Israel walked during their long journey to the Promised Land.
I love to get into the story of the Israelites coming out of Egypt, no longer slaves, but free men crossing the Red Sea. This location is the very place the Israelites on their journey would have been walking right through here.
On this expedition, we wanted to locate, of course, the starting point. We knew where we were going to end up. We didn't know where we were going to start.
There's a lot of disagreement among Jewish scholars, Christian scholars, of where exactly the Israelites wandered. But there's a few locations that we can know more for certain. It's the Arava, the valley leading to the Gulf of Aqaba and the Red Sea. Scholars are pretty certain about Kadesh Barnea, ancient Edom. We have the biblical Eilat, and it's where we are, right where God commanded the people of Israel to walk. Where we are now, in the Arava Valley, the people of Israel journeyed with the Ark of the Covenant, carrying the tabernacle on their way to the land of Israel. I can only imagine what it would have been like with all the tribes and all the clans and the families. It's amazing to be in their footsteps.
So we've got a problem. The expedition cannot go forward with the Jeep because we've got mines.
Landmines ahead. We can't continue with the Jeep. That's the last thing you want to do.
Finding the places we need to go in the wilderness isn't always easy. We've come to places where cars are not allowed.
We pull out the maps, we try to figure out our options, and thought, okay, how are we going to do this? We find a relatively safe way to get in on foot, get our shots, and get out. Problem is, besides the fact that you had landmines in one area, you have border police from the Jordanian side on the other end. If we were to do it by foot, it's too slow. You don't want to fall into their hands because basically that means expedition's over.
Going down fully into the southern Jordanian border, that's very problematic. We can't walk in, it's not fast enough. It needs to be a get in and get out situation. As a Tennessee boy, born and raised, Granddad taught me how to ride horses at a very young age. I thought, would there be any horses out here? Ends up a friend of a friend had a horse in the moshav right next to where we were. Asked him, said, hey, would it be possible that we could borrow your horse for a few minutes? And he said, sure.
We did not come this far to not get the photographs of the area and really trying to nail this location.
We literally have to get in, get the shots, zip back out, immediately just saddle her up. The rest is history.
Let's go, yalla yalla.
אל תעצור עד שאני אגיד לך.
Okay, copy that.
תעצור, פה.
I'm coming into the valley.
I'm on the ridge, stand by.
How we looking, guys?
Stand by, Josh, stand by.
He's clear.
You're clear, Josh. Let's get the shots and get out of here.
All right, here we go. I got the shots, boys. Meet me back at the Mo shop.
Let's go.
I don't know what it is about the desert. Each biblical hero throughout the Bible, God always brings them into the wilderness for a time of their life. In the beginning, their identity is formed and shaped here. There's something there, there's some secret to it.
It's uncanny how throughout the scripture, almost every leader is first in the desert before he leads. Even the nation of Israel was fashioned and born in the desert. As God stripped away everything, and the only thing they could rely on was God. And in that place, God refines and creates a leader. This is the amazing story of the people of Israel. It all began right here.
We journeyed and trekked out into the wilderness before dawn to try to understand what it would have been like for God's presence to come, that glory which was on Mount Sinai. I feel like to truly understand the awesomeness of God's dwelling presence, you have to understand the majesty of what happened at Mount Sinai. God reveals himself to an entire people, and it's changed the course of world history forever.
The culmination of the Exodus story was not the giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai. The culmination was the outpouring of God's glory, his presence, his Shekhinah in Hebrew, on the tabernacle.
It's like no other story known to man. God chose a people and he showed up. You just have to use a little imagination and maybe just to feel it here in the desert of what could it have been like.
This concept of God's presence that's everywhere, I think that's a given. God cannot be contained. But at the same time, God gives Israel this command. You shall build me a house and I will dwell amongst them. And I find that to be so amazing. that the house is not to contain his presence, but rather for his presence to dwell within us.
It's a mystery how God can be everywhere at once and still dwell and reveal himself in a specific place. And he certainly chose to do that in the tabernacle.
At the foot of Mount Sinai, the children of Israel constructed the tabernacle according to the precise instructions from God. On the day of its consecration, the Hebrews witnessed a miracle which surpassed all of the wonders they had seen since their exodus from Egypt. That day in the desert, the glory of God came down from heaven, and for the first time since the Garden of Eden, dwelt amongst men.
The incredible Sinai revelation of God coming down in fire and smoke and glory and speaking to all the people, that majesty doesn't stay on Mount Sinai. It moves into the tabernacle that God said to build. And Moses doesn't go back up the mountain again. There's over 12 different proposed locations for Mount Sinai. The Jewish people haven't really retained a strong sense of where Mount Sinai is, or Christianity. Why is that?
To answer that question on a spiritual level, I believe God did that on purpose to focus our attention towards the destination. In Hebrew, it's called Har Zion, Mount Zion. Zion literally means the pinpoint. In other words, this is the place where God from heaven locates and says, here.
Look toward Jerusalem. Keep your eyes focused there has been a biblical narrative from the beginning. Just like Jesus' disciples walking away from Jerusalem on that road to Emmaus, they met Jesus on the road. And when they met him, what did they do? They didn't keep going away from Jerusalem. They turned around and they faced back toward that city with an anticipation for the redemption. What happened at Mount Sinai is very significant, but what will happen in Jerusalem is what God desires his people to focus towards.
That to me is the clue and the key of the expedition. Something started at Mount Sinai, but it's no longer there. It journeyed on to the ultimate place that God wanted to choose.
In the early days of the Kingdom of Israel, Mount Zion was renowned not only as the gathering place for worship, but also as the destination for the biblical festivals. 3 times a year, Israelite families will travel up to Jerusalem to celebrate the feasts of the Lord. That changed when Jerusalem was destroyed in 70 AD. With the Jewish population expelled from the land, the celebrations ceased. But in 1967, something was reborn in this city that many see as miraculous. The feasts returned to Jerusalem. The first festival of the biblical year is Passover. Today, families throughout Israel and pilgrims from all over the world come to Jerusalem to eat the Passover meal, tour the old city, and enjoy holiday traditions that date back to the era of the Exodus. One of the women who comes here to keep the feasts is Tamima Pilichowski.
My favorite holiday is probably Pesach, Passover. We do a lot of tours, we see the city, we get something to eat, something fun to do, and it's exciting stuff to have a good time together in a special place. There's nothing like it. My name is Tamima Pilichowski. I currently live in Mitzvah Yericho with my family. My mom is Eliza and my father is Uri. I have 4 sisters, 1 brother, and I come to Jerusalem often. Jerusalem to me means home, it means comfort. It's a place for me to be with my family, it's a place for me to live, it's a place for me to grow up, and it's the place I feel most comfortable in. I really enjoy coming to Jerusalem for Pesach because everyone in the same country is celebrating the same holiday that I'm celebrating. You see most of the people wearing white shirts. Everyone comes to the kotel for Birkat Kohanim. Everyone's eating matzah. Everyone is in the celebration of Pesach.
The centerpiece of all the biblical festivals was the Temple Mount. Although access today is heavily restricted for Jews and Christians, Mount Zion was once the foremost place of worship for all who came to the feasts.
To me, Mount Zion is a place of my ancestors. It's a place of history. It's a special place. I've learned about it. We pray about it 3 times a day as Jewish people. Our holidays are surrounded by ascending to Har Bayit. It's a place where, God willing, I'll be able to celebrate with my family the holidays and be able to ascend and go up to.
A major event takes place during the feast which draws tens of thousands to Jerusalem each year. The priestly blessing is the benediction God gave to Aaron and his descendants to speak over the people of Israel so that they will be blessed. In ancient times, all Israel would ascend Mount Zion to receive the special blessing. But today, it is given in the closest area to the Temple Mount which allows Jewish prayer, the Western Wall. The rabbi of the Western Wall leads the blessing, emphasizing each sacred word. It is the blessing from God that has been recited over Israel for over 3,300 years. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.
Seeing that there are so many people who feel so connected to such a special place means so much. I remember just feeling this embrace, and I don't know where it came from, but it's just this feeling of you belong and this is your place and this is where I belong. In the near future, hopefully, we'll be able to get to the other side of that wall and be able to pray the way that we're supposed to pray and do the priestly blessing the real way on the other side of that wall. My dream for the Temple Mount is for all the nations of the world to be able to come, join together, to be a gathering place for the Jews on high holidays, and really enjoy what Jerusalem is meant to be. I yearn for that day where I'm going to be able to ascend to Har Habayit with my whole family and rejoice and dance and be able to pray to God on that mountain. I am Tamima Pilachowski, and I am Israel.
After 40 years in the wilderness, the time had come for the children of Israel to enter the Promised Land. Moses commissioned Joshua, then breathed his last on the eastern mountains of the Dead Sea. With the priests and the Ark of the Covenant going before them, Joshua led the entire nation across the Jordan River and blazed a trail into this new land. And the evidence of that trail is still there, but it can only be seen from the air.
God gives the children of Israel a very interesting promise in Deuteronomy. When they enter the land, every place that they set their foot, He will give that land to them. We searched for Gilgal, and we found Gilgal where it says they camped. We find ancient archaeological remains at this site. And when you see it from above, it's even more astounding.
Well, it is really fascinating to look at the path that the children of Israel came into the land and then mysteriously find out that there's these footprints that follow that direct path.
The place where they camped, there is the shape and rocks of a footprint that the children of Israel have seemingly set up.
Look at the footprints and the children of Israel coming into the land. They come into this area and they establish the first one. It's just this hidden mystery of why a footprint. John, we're here at the site. What's your ETA?
I'm close, guys. Stand by.
The answer that seems pretty straightforward is this is just a symbol establishing that promise. Every place your foot treads would be the land that I will give to you. So it's super fascinating.
Looking good, John. Tell us what you see.
The stones are set up in the shape of an ancient sandal, about 200 meters in length. Josh, it's longer than 2 football fields. I'll shoot the other footprints and meet you guys below Mount Deval.
All right, buddy, get your shots. We'll see you in the mountains.
To see from the air the footprints of God, if you will, leading to the place that God commanded them to go. It's just astounding.
Joshua's altar is probably one of the most significant yet untouched places. No one really knows what's going on there. Nobody visits it hardly at all. But yet it's one of these amazing locations that's one of the oldest. This is an incredible site.
This is the place God had told the children of Israel to come when they get into the land, to find Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal, the Mount of blessing and cursing, and to reconfirm their covenant with God.
When it comes to archaeology, and especially these footprints and this altar, there's one guy. His name's Aaron Lipkin, and this is the guy. He's the guy that has just thrown himself into this topic, thrown himself into the research. Aaron's the guy to call.
This is probably the most important biblical sites in Israel, also the most important archaeological discovery. When we read the Bible, we see that the book of Deuteronomy mentions the commandment to come to this mountain and to perform a ceremony of blessings and curses twice. It mentions it twice. And the Bible doesn't do that a lot with repetition. The Bible repeats intentionally the need to come here to do a national event with all the tribes, declaring the belief in God and the importance of following His commandments. This event is an event that forms the nation, and it's an event that repeats what happened in Mount Sinai. And the question is, why is the altar of God built on the mountain of curse?
It is an amazing thing that God would establish when the children of Israel first come into the land, that there would be a mount of blessing and there would be a mount of cursing. You would think that maybe the altar to worship God would be on the mount of blessing, but it's not. It's on the mount of cursing.
The altar on Mount Ebal carries a message. And the message is, if you decided to walk in my way, in God's way, you'll receive the blessing. If you will choose not to walk in my way, you will receive the curse. But when you choose that you want to change your ways, that you want to come back to me, I'm waiting for you on the mountain of curse with my altar. My altar is a beacon. It's a watch house. It's the tool of atonement, the way back to God. And so, in many ways, you can say that this place is the first temple of the Israelites.
From the day Solomon dedicated the temple, Mount Zion welcomed all nations of the earth, and the one language that united everyone was the language of music. Today, the ancient songs of the past are being renewed by descendants of Israel's original musicians, the tribe of Levi. One of those descendants is Yair Levi.
According to the Jewish faith, we believe that God gave us music as a gift. It's a gift that we can use to connect between souls, between people. The secret of music is that it doesn't matter who you are and what language do you speak, it can touch your heart.
My name
is Yair Levi. I'm a singer-songwriter, live in Jaffa. I was born here. It's my grandparents that did Aliyah. So I'm very mixed from all over the world. From my side of my father, they came from Yemen. And from my side of my mother, Poland and Tunisia.
Yair has performed his music for audiences around the world. But his ultimate dream is to sing songs of worship on the Temple Mount.
My mother said when I was 3 years old, she was singing in my bed, and all the time I was fixing her and telling her, don't think like this and sing differently than how you sing. So she understood that I have something with music. When I was 16, I started to play with friends, and I learned from them. They teach me how to play guitar. Then I started to write songs. It was amazing, and I understood that this is my purpose in this world, to write songs and to compose it. I feel that this is my purpose from a very young age.
The tribe of Levi was set apart from the other 12 at Mount Sinai, chosen to serve in the sanctuary and to teach the Torah throughout the nation. Their members included Moses and Aaron, Samuel and Jeremiah, Zechariah and John the Baptist.
We used to sing in the temple from psalms and other songs in harmony, and it was a very famous ceremony that people all over the world came to hear and to see and to hear the music of the Levites. It was very, very unique.
For pilgrims entering Jerusalem during the biblical festivals, they would be enveloped by a city full of music.
Jerusalem for me is a gift. It's a kind of a gift that we got, like music. And you can work with Jerusalem in the right way or not in the right way. I believe that this place needs to be a place of peace, of music, not a place to fight. I always remember my family. Only 100 years ago, if I would tell them that I was walking at the Temple Mount, they were thinking that I'm crazy. In 100 years, we came from all over the world to Israel. So for me, as a Levite, as a Jew, to walk in Israel and to walk in Jerusalem and to walk in the Temple Mount is a dream come true to all of my grandfathers.
During the first century, a pilgrim's journey to the house of God culminated here on the southern steps. As worshippers walked up, they would begin to hear music coming from inside the temple. The ancient gates where the biblical heroes of the past would enter are still visible today.
Isaiah said that this is house of prayer for all the nations. We're praying for it every day, that all the world and all the nation will say, hey, we want to pray together, we're not afraid. I welcome anyone that wants to come to pray in Jerusalem. And it doesn't matter if it's non-Jewish or Jewish. Come, visit Jerusalem and pray with us.
The melodies that once filled the air on Mount Zion were lost to time. But today, as the Jewish people return to the land of their forefathers, the ancient songs are being rediscovered. One of them is Psalm 118. Originally composed by King David, it is believed that this melody was sung by the Levites on the Temple Mount.
ענני במרחביה, אדוני לי לא יירא, מה יעשה לי אדם? אדוני לי בעוזרי, ואני אראה בשונאי, טוב לך לעשות באדוני, בלטוח באדם, פיתרו לי שערי צדק, אבוא במודל, זה השער לאדוני, צדיקים יבואו.
I truly believe that if we want to bring peace to this place, we need to work on our heart, because right now we are not ready. The way to be ready is first to love each other, because the temple is a place for peace. And second, we need to feel that it's missing in our heart, that the Hebrew people and all the nations praying together, that it's something that we want. When we feel that we want it, it will happen. Yeah. My dream for the Temple Mount is to enter and to sing and to serve God through music in the way that He chose me as a Levite. I am Yair Levi, and I am Israel.
It was after the covenant ceremony at Joshua's altar that the children of Israel began to get their first true look at the land of milk and honey. Moses had promised God would bring them into a good land, a land with rivers and springs, valleys and hills, a land where they would eat food without shortage and lack nothing. Under the leadership of Joshua, the 12 tribes set out to settle the land. The tabernacle and Ark of the Covenant were brought down from Mount Ebal and set up in Israel's first national capital, a centralized city which would serve as the meeting place for all of the tribes, the city of Shiloh.
Shiloh is so significant to the biblical narrative because it was a capital of Israel. And it took me a long time to see in the biblical story, but it was like a Jerusalem of sorts. The Ark of the Covenant was there for almost 400 years. This is where Hannah prayed for a son. It's where her son Samuel heard the voice of God. Shiloh starts the narrative, the story of finding the Messiah of Israel, the anointed king.
Amongst the ruins of the city of Shiloh, archaeologists discovered a cave near the place where the tabernacle stood. Evidence suggests this was once the residence of the high priest, the home where Eli and Samuel lived.
You know, you can travel all over Israel and visit places where God spoke. And to be in Shiloh and experience one of these places is so significant to me.
That's where Samuel, as a boy, would have run to find Eli, the high priest, to find out if Eli was calling him. But instead, it was God's voice speaking in that place, not far from the Ark of the Covenant. Samuel ultimately grows up to become the man, the prophet who anoints the kings of Israel, beginning the messianic house of David.
The most important area in ancient Shiloh is the site where the tabernacle once stood. 3 times a year, the hills surrounding Shiloh would be covered with families of the 12 tribes, who would congregate here to worship God. For the generations who came after the Exodus, this place was the center of spiritual life, where the Ark of the Covenant and the presence of God rested.
Ultimately, Shiloh's days were numbered, and Shiloh was destroyed by the Philistines. The glory of God left Shiloh. But it traveled on to the place that God had destined from the foundation of the world.
In the days of Eli the priest, the armies of Israel brought the ark out of Shiloh to battle the Philistines. There it was captured and passed between 3 Philistine cities. Terrible plagues and death fell on the men of these cities until they returned the ark back to the people of Israel. During the reign of King David, the ark was brought up to Jerusalem. It was placed securely in a tent in the city of David, where it remained until construction of the temple was complete.
I remember the first time I came to Jerusalem, all the biblical accounts that we read growing up became real. It became tangible. I love to come to Jerusalem just to experience the life that I see every time I come here. God does have a plan for this city that's unlike any other place on the planet.
We're going to meet with Rabbi Hanan, a Temple Mount expert. He's part of the team that brought the famous red heifers to Israel. He's got a wealth of knowledge on Jerusalem and its significance.
It's pretty amazing to be walking when you come here in the footsteps of Abraham. I mean, who could say that they did this, right? We're walking, actually, Abraham walked, and probably, I don't know if he sat in this chair, but he sat here at some point. You know, you're ascending, you're going up to the mountain, and you have to relax someplace. All the nations at the end days are going to come back to Israel. And they will come to the house of prayer for all the nations here in Jerusalem. This is not just a place for Jews. This is a place for all nations. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Rabbi Hanan, thanks so much for taking the time to meet us today. Is there any strong Jewish tradition on the location of the Ark of the Covenant?
By far, the main tradition is that it's actually deep into the ground, where the area of the Kodesh HaKodeshim, the Holy of Holies, was. So you just have to do an archaeology dig, probably the greatest that any archaeologist in the world would want to come and do, and be able to find the covenant.
For the last 1,300 years, the peak of Mount Moriah has been enclosed by the Dome of the Rock. Centered inside is the exposed bedrock of the mountain, known as the foundation stone. It was here that Solomon constructed the Holy of Holies of the temple, and on this bedrock that the ark was placed. According to ancient Jewish writings, Solomon feared that if Jerusalem were ever invaded by foreign armies, the ark would again be captured. To safeguard the ark, he built a system of subterranean tunnels and secret chambers during construction of the first temple. Directly under the foundation stone is one of those chambers. Called the Well of Souls, this carved-out cave became a place of prayer during the time of the Crusaders, but is today only accessible to Muslims. Although no excavations have been allowed in the modern era, evidence points to an even larger chamber, sealed up and concealed beneath this one.
If the Ark of the Covenant has been hidden underneath Mount Zion the whole time, that means the mountain today would still be housing the Ark of the Covenant in the holiest place in the world.
I think it has huge spiritual significance that, according to tradition, the Ark of the Covenant has been here, buried under the Temple Mount, for these thousands of years.
Over 50 tunnels, chambers, and caves are believed to lie beneath the surface of Mount Moriah, many of which have not been explored in over 2,000 years.
Rabbi, in the Bible, over and over again, I read that God has placed his name on this city. What does that mean?
We're now in Passover. It happens to be today's Passover. And one of the elements that when we left Egypt was that we needed to put on our doors the blood of a sheep. God protected the Jewish people, the ones that marked their doors. Until today, we mark our doors with the words, the special words from the Bible that protect our homes.
Everywhere we go throughout this city, on the houses, on each gate, there is a mezuzah. And a mezuzah is a container with a biblical scroll inside containing the passage that Jesus said is the most important commandments in Scripture, and a symbol for God's name, the Hebrew letter Shin.
You guys went past the mezuzah right over here. You could see it was a Shin. Yerushalayim, the city of Jerusalem. If you look from a bird's view, you actually have like the three rivers and also the three mountains create that mark of the Shin.
From the beginning of creation, God always knew this is the place. Jerusalem is not just like any other city. It's very clear in the Bible, God chose this city as the place that he was going to make his name known throughout the entire world. The Bible says that God put his name on Jerusalem.
The Bible says, Adonai b'Yerushalayim asim et shmi. In Jerusalem will I put my name. It also says, Uvachar b'Yerushalayim liot shmi sham, uvachar b'David liot al ami Yisrael. I have chosen Jerusalem for my name to be there, and I have chosen David to rule my people, Israel.
Over and over again, the scriptures say that God has placed his name in Jerusalem. On Zion is where his name dwells. And biblically, that's his reputation. He's staked his reputation to this city. But even physically, just like God's name is on every doorpost in this city, from above, if you look down at Jerusalem, God's name, Shaddai, is imprinted, stamped into the hills.
When Moses asked God to show his glory, God reveals his name. He reveals who he is. It's all about his reputation. It's all about his name. And that's why Mount Zion, the mountain of God, is so important. It bears his reputation. It's God's name.
Over the course of recent generations, scores of prophecies foretold in the Bible have become a reality. But one promise yet to come is constantly in the hearts of the Jewish people. The promise of peace forever in the land of Israel.
My dream for this city is that there one day would be peace. And I can't wait for that day. David tells us in the Psalms to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And the reason is because what happens in this city literally affects the entire world.
When I see with my natural eyes this city today, I see also the promise that it will become the mountain of the King.
God's design for this mountain was to be a place of prayer, a place of worship, a place of dedication, of rededication, of coming to God and getting close. But when this city becomes a city of peace, we're going to experience God on this mountain like we've never in the history of mankind experienced God.
It says one day God will wipe away the tears from all our eyes. Death will be done away with from that mountain. It says when the King rules on Zion, the name of the city will be "The Lord is there."
I have a dream that one day I'll have the opportunity to take my young sons and my daughter and my wife up to the Temple Mount to serve God together as a family, collectively with all of Israel together. There's something about God's holy mountain that unites us. And that's my dream, is that we will collectively as a people come together as one and serve the King.
We're here to change the music. In the world, God chooses the people of Israel to be a source of blessing to all the families of the earth, to bring the essence of God into every single family in this earth. That's our mission. It begins by changing the music on Temple Mount. Instead of hearing voices of violence and hatred and incitement, we want to hear the violins, the lyres, the harps. And when we go up there, we go to the palace of the King and we say, humbly, we are your servants. Give us the mission. What's the assignment? Hineni, here I am.
The Bible doesn't only have stories about the past.
The Bible also has stories about the future. Zechariah says, many peoples from many great nations will stream to Jerusalem to seek the God of Israel. When you come to Jerusalem to seek a connection with the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you are the person that Zechariah was talking about.
Every one of the prophecies is happening right now. The return of the Jewish people has turned a barren wasteland into a blooming country. We can see it all around us every single day. It's simply exploding. The flourishing of the land is part and parcel of the beginning of the time when the Mashiach comes and God dwells amongst us once again. We are living through the times of redemption.
The Temple Mount is an opportunity for us to gather and for us to sing together, all in one voice, all one song. Like it is prophesied that we will beat our swords into plowshares. Nothing sounds sweeter in this time of war and conflict in our world right now than the gathering of all nations on the Temple Mount together.
There is a place where God is. He's opened his doors. He said, come meet me here. Why would you not go?
Now is the time for mankind to understand that redemption is happening. The words of the prophet are becoming a reality. Now is the time for the shalom, the peace upon all nations coming from Jerusalem. We want to illuminate the world with his light.
I believe the day is coming when our people will stand here without fear, shoulder to shoulder with peoples from all nations, and say, with dignity and a strong heart,
I am Israel.
Tears are wiped away, and all will hear the voice of gladness. There will come a time when the mountains flow with wine, and the world will hear the voice of bride and groom, and all who say, give thanks to the Lord of hosts. Sing praise, for he is good, for his love endures forever. Yes, his love endures forever. Before we call, you will answer. When we speak, you will hear. So day and night, we will never hold our peace for the sake of Zion. We will not keep silent until the day her salvation blazes forth as a praise in the earth. Give thanks to the Lord of hosts. Sing praise, for he is good, for his love endures forever. Yes, his love endures forever. We will gather, we will sing hallelujah on the mountain of the King. Hearts are pure and hands are clean. Hallelujah. On the mountain of the King. Cherubim and seraphim. Hallelujah. Falling down on bended knee. Hear the sound of melody. Hallelujah. On the mountain of